Hey guys, Waseem Bashir here, and in this video we will talk about webinars. If you're thinking of running a webinar campaign for your business or product, is the perfect time to master webinars. So in this video I will cover the basics of how to plan, build and finally promote your webinar. Also, I will share a list of webinar software tools that I have reviewed for you so you don't have to do this research. And if you stick around to the end of this episode, there's a downloadable checklist that you can use to plan your next webinar. Keep watching to learn my 6 steps to successfully launch your webinar campaign. So first things first, what are webinars used for? Webinars can do lots of things. They're powerful to educate prospects at various stages to generate more qualified leads. Or you can use webinars to demo your product or service to a potential customer. You can also use webinars to educate existing users on how to use your product or service. Depending on your use case, it's important to keep the objective in mind. Which tool should I use? Well, there are lots and lots of them, and they're popping left, right, and center since the start of the pandemic. In this video, I'm not going to review any of them, but I can offer you something which will actually help you more, which is me and my team have compiled a sheet of some of the major webinar software players and highlighted their features in a simple format so you can easily decide what works best for your use case. You can check the link in the description below to check out the list. Now let's dive deeper into the 6-step process. The first thing is planning your webinar. This means defining the what, who, when, and why. The first one is what. In this step, you need to identify what the subject or content of the webinar is going to be. This should be driven by the webinar host, which is you, and something that is relevant for the company or is in line with the current business goals. Next up is who. In this step, you should identify the target audience for your webinar. I'll highly recommend building a persona of the ideal demographic, for example, defining the industry sector, job titles, geographic location, age, gender, etc. Next up is when. Once you've identified your target audience, you then need to define when the webinar should be held. With your audience in mind, define when would be a good day or time for them to attend. It is important to leave a big enough window of opportunity to target the audience you identified. And finally, why? Why would people care? In this step, define the goal of the webinar. Are you planning to sell a course or nurture a lead into a prospect? In addition to showing expertise, you should also include a takeaway in the form of an ebook presentation or a unique offer or a discount for your participants. In a B2B setting, you could offer a free consultation to your participants. Now you defined your what, who, when, and why, let's talk about the final step in the planning process. In this stage, you can define granular details like the topic, headline, and some benefits. You can also mark a launch date and time in your calendar at this stage. If you're planning to invite guest speakers, you can start emailing them now. It would be also good to think about promotion and loosely define some channels which you will use to market the webinar. We'll also talk more about promotion later in this video. Now we planned our webinar, let's build it. Depending on which platform you choose, you can either use a built-in registration page or use a third-party landing page builder tool like Unbounce to create a landing page. I prefer using Unbounce because it allows me the ability to have a fully editable page to include bespoke elements and branded elements to improve the quality in order to maximize signups. On the page, I like having 2 sign-up buttons. The first one for the actual webinar event and the second one for people who can't make it on the day but want to have the flexibility to get the recording of the session. That way, as a marketer, you can maximize your chances to generate more leads and later nurture them by email marketing. Regardless of what funnel you build to drive participants to your webinar, there is one single page that always gets viewed. Yes, I'm talking about the good old thank you page. Right after somebody signs up for your webinar, they always get to see the thank you page. And you can start building rapport with your audience by putting a video on the thank you page. And thank you pages are key in building relationships with your audience even before the actual webinar. Next up is building campaign assets. Depending on the channels you want to use, you need to create various assets. These could include things like text ads for Google Ads or banner images for Google, Facebook, or LinkedIn. I'll also recommend adding a banner to your email signature. And if you have a blog, then you can add a banner image to your blog sidebar or to your footer. If you have a list of subscribers, you can easily create a newsletter and send them an email before the start of the webinar. No matter what creative assets you create, just keep in mind to keep it consistent across the various channels, and most important, be on brand. Tracking and keeping an eye on the webinar campaign is critical. This will help you tweak your existing campaign. Analyzing data will help you learn and improve your next campaign. As a starting point, you can track metrics like number of clicks from your ad or traffic source, number of people visiting your landing page, and also find a number of webinar signups. And once you go live with your webinar, you can track number of people who attended versus the number of people who didn't. You can also track number of people who then went on to buy the product or service, or if they booked a discovery call with you. Out of my experience, you won't get the results from your first webinar, but as you keep doing it, you will improve and you will see a steady stream of leads. Let's talk about dashboards. You can use a tool like Databox to pull up different numbers from Facebook, Google Analytics, and your webinar platform tool. If you plan to run webinars regularly, I would recommend building a reporting dashboard. You can use a dashboard to view all your marketing spend and webinar signups in one report. To track exactly where participants sign up, I recommend using UTM parameters. UTM parameters are great if you want to track exactly which channel is driving more signups and leads. One of our client campaigns had more signups via Facebook versus LinkedIn, while the other one had amazing results from LinkedIn. So every industry and every product is different, so keep experimenting with different channels. You might think, why take all this hassle? Well, you can only make these improvements if you keep a close eye on your campaigns on a daily basis. And having a dashboard will definitely help you keep an eye on your campaign. Test. I want to stress you should always cross-check webinar dates and time zones. I personally had experiences where the time zone was either messed up or due to DST changes, the email reminder was sent at the wrong time. Messing up the date or time could easily make or break your webinar campaign. If you're using any third-party registration page builder, it won't automatically add signups to your webinar platform. To solve this, you can use an app called Zapier. Zapier is an automation tool that connects one app with other apps. In our case, we can capture webinar sign-up information, for example, name and email, and pass it on to our webinar platform like GoToWebinar or Zoom. Using Zapier, you can also add multiple apps together. For example, you can notify your marketing team about the new signups using a team chat platform like Slack within the same Zap, or even send the lead information to your CRM or email marketing tool. Right guys, you've finished building your page and have your creative assets all ready to go. The next big step is promotion. I'm going to share 6 ways you can promote your upcoming webinar. Launch organic social media campaigns and make announcements on platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ask your friends and colleagues to like the post or reshare the post on their profile to spread more buzz. If you have a website, you can add a sticky bar on your main website to announce the upcoming webinar. You can use a free tool called Hello Bar to create this sticky widget. You can also use exit overlays to show a pop-up that notifies your website visitor just in time when they're leaving the page. You can launch paid campaigns on platforms like Facebook, Google, or LinkedIn to reach out to a bigger audience. You can update your email signature to include a link to your upcoming webinar. And finally, if you have a list, you can send out an email campaign and invite your contacts to your webinar. Congratulations, your webinar campaign is generating signups. Before you go live though, you can do one final social media push and invite your followers to sign up and join. And just 1 hour before the webinar starts, you can send an email reminder to all the participants who've signed up to join the webinar. And finally, just 10 minutes before the webinar starts, you can send out a final email with webinar platform login details or connection details. And if you're a SaaS, you can use in-app notifications to notify users. For example, with tools like Intercom, Drift, Dashly, you can easily set this up and invite your existing customers. Once your webinar is delivered, you can now upload the recording to YouTube and share it with all your webinar registrants, especially with the ones who specifically asked for the recording. Send a follow-up campaign to all the attendees with any additional information you shared, for example, slides, presentations, or any checklist. The follow-up email should also include a reminder of the offer or hook you presented in the webinar. Now that the dust has settled, you can review all your marketing activities to establish what worked and what didn't. Based on the KPIs you tracked, you can easily gauge the success of your webinar campaign. You can even send out a quick feedback survey to your participants. Any feedback is great feedback. Looking at all the KPIs, user feedback, you can use all this valuable information to improve your future campaign. Alright guys, there you have it, the beginner's guide to creating a webinar campaign. Please give me a thumbs up if you found this video helpful. I put some links to resources I discussed in this video, and make sure to download your free webinar checklist from the link below. Now you understand the basics of running a webinar, it's time to go deeper in the next videos. I will cover topics like how you can build killer landing pages to get more webinar signups and emails you should be sending out to every participant. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you next time, have fun and be a conversionaire.